I'm Jesse.
And I'm Nick.
And this is Wound and Stitched, where each week Nick and I will sit down, we'll talk about watches, and the following week Amanda and Lisa are going to sit down and talk about handbags. Nick and I are also going to be having a lovely beer each time that we do this, while Lisa and Amanda are either going to have coffee or maybe wine, but going to be talking about something else as well. So, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Platform Brewing Lawlessness Porter, which is described as dark, roasty, and rich, and I would have to agree.
Yeah, nice. I'm not as intense. I've got a Pilsner here. It's crisp, easy, and refreshing.
Pilsner.
Yeah, Pilsner. Thank you very much. A Pilsner. Couldn't let that go. But yeah, Platform, absolutely great brewing company based out of Cleveland. Thank you for pointing that out, Jordan.
I've been corrected.
Yep, just opened up, well not just, but like 6-7 months ago or so, a brewery here in Columbus, which we were psyched about. So glad to be trying that out, and so far I'm loving this.
Me too.
Good. I don't know if you wanted to start, but you had the idea of basically talking about each of our first watches.
Yeah. Our first watches?
Well, okay.
We could talk about our first watches. That's actually a pretty good one. The idea was I was going to talk about like the watch on my wrist or something, but if you want to talk about our first watch, that would actually be that's a good
Let's do watch on the wrist.
Okay.
And then you can tell your story about your first watch.
Well, the one that I have is the first. I mean, I've bought a bunch of watches before this, but this would be my first like luxury watch, I guess. I had some Hamiltons and a Tissot, but I have the Nomos Metro Datum Gang Reserve, which is their date with Power Reserve and Metro collection. And I got it because I've loved the Nomos brand for a long time. I know it took me a while to convince you of the same thing, but I think they do the details really, really well. They have their own in-house movements, even down to the escapement. They spent a lot of years and a lot of money developing the entire escapement in-house as opposed to outsourcing it. I just really, really love the design. I think it's a super thin, fun, kind of quirky watch, and for what you're getting with an in-house movement, sapphire crystal, German-made, just tons and tons of quality and attention to detail. It's at under $4,000, one of, I think, the best priced watches that you can get.
And I completely agree. It did take me a while to see that. I remember you showing me like hundreds of photos, it felt like, and I was like, I don't get it. And then you bought one, and I was like, okay, shit, this is pretty cool.
And it's just like with that simple sort of, it's the Bauhaus style. It's a German architectural style that focuses on minimalism. If you're not immediately a fan of that style, then it's kind of not, it's they're all very similar in the minimalism. So if you don't like that, then right off the bat, you're not going to like any of the watches. But I think it's different once you start handling them. And I even got super nerdy, and I got this Perlon strap that is also made in Germany. You're fine. I wanted the German strap on the German watch, so I like it. I don't think I wear it as much as I should since I got the Tudor and the Speedmaster has sort of been taking up some time, but I'm going back to it.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. What about you? What do you have?
So the watch on my wrist, this is a Rolex Oyster Precision, 1956. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But no, it's really cool because this is a watch that my dad gave to me. So it's got sentimental value there, but it's also one of those pieces where I just haven't seen, really many people with it at all. And just to show you guys what it sort of looks like, it's got 18 karat yellow gold case, very clean. Doesn't have a date, doesn't really have anything. It just has blue steel second hands, and like I said, everything is just incredibly sort of minimalistic on it. Did have to change the bracelet. The one that it had was in horrible condition, but I end up wearing this probably more than any of my other watches. And I love the size of it. Very, very thin. Like I said, just something different. I wear bracelets all the time too. So for me, I don't really want like a big watch on my wrist, and I kind of like having something that, you know, is a little bit unique. So
that's one of my favorite eras of Rolex too. One of the things when we were to talk about later about our desired watches, the Rolex when they had their like pre-Daytona chronographs or the triple calendars at the moon phase, like those that was my favorite era of Rolex. And not that I dislike Rolex currently, but that was just a whole nother level for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Just super psyched about this watch, and like I said, truthfully is probably the one that I wear the most often. But tell me about your first watch now that you brought it up.
My first, well, there's two, I guess, you know, two ways that could go, because my first watch ever was the Fossil when I got it for Christmas when I was, I think, 10 or 11. And at the time I wasn't, I mean, so many people that I follow and know of that are into watches are, oh, my father gave me his watch when I was a kid, and I've loved him since a kid, and I did all these really cool things, and I didn't like watches as a kid. They got me that Fossil watch, and I just didn't wear it all that often. I didn't like things on my wrist. We never got it sized, so it was too big, and I just thought you couldn't fix it, and the bracelet was what it was. So I never really wore that, and I wouldn't consider that my first watch. But my first sort of real watch when I got back into it, and I had a couple of Nixons since then too, but I don't really count those. So the first one that sort of got me started down the rabbit hole of watchmaking was an Orient Mako XL. And if you're not familiar with Orient, it is a company from Japan that is owned by Seiko. So they just like Seiko, they make affordable mechanical and quartz watches, pretty wide book design-wise, dress, dive, casual, sporty, whatever you need. And it was a dive watch, and I got it, and I did tons of research on it, and I think I paid $190 for it, and it's a mechanical watch with a day date, 200-meter water resistance, and a blue dial, and just like the normal dive watch that you consider, that you think of when you think of it. And I still have it, and I still wear it every so often for nostalgia, I guess. But that was kind of the mechanical part of it, and winding it and doing all. Actually, I don't think it had a hand wind, but just that was my first mechanical watch, and that was what sort of started the spark of watches being interesting for me, and sent me down the line of wherever I am now. So
yeah, it becomes an addiction, and it's like one of those things, the more you know about it, the more you just absolutely fall in love with it. But
what about yours? The first real one. I feel like the first watch that meant something to you as your first one.
Yeah, a Tag Carrera. That was like the first nice watch where I began to appreciate, you know, the differences between a $200 watch and $1,000, $2,000, things like that.
Was it a black dial?
Black dial.
Nice. It's a good looking watch.
Yeah, no, it was awesome with the rubber strap and everything. It was pretty perfect. So, but yeah, like you said, I mean, you just start learning more and more about it, and then all of a sudden you know, find out different brands that you have an affinity for, and different sort of like movements or whatever it is, and
you get super technical and start getting into movement manufacturers and the different technological innovations and things that they do, and then you lose most everybody except for the most nerdiest of watch nerds.
Yep, exactly. Well, you also brought up that a good topic of conversation would be what grinds our gears. No pun intended.
So there's a lot. And I think that it should be something that we cover every other week or whenever we record, because there's definitely, be it certain things that happen across all watches, like certain things that watch brands as the industry as a whole does that bothers me, specific brands or specific parts of things. I love watches, but there is a lot of it that drives me nuts, yeah. And the one that I guess I would talk about first and foremost is the one I feel like everybody who talks watches with me has heard me bitch about,
I know where this is going. I already know.
Is color-matched date wheels. And as an explanation for what I mean, when you take, say, a Rolex sub and then one of the new coaxial Seamaster, the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean, they both have dates. The Rolex has a white background even if the dial's black, the date wheel will have a white background with black text.
Yeah.
It's been that way forever, especially on dive watches, because underwater that is the most legible color combination that you can have, and we'll go back to something in a minute. But Omega, they will, if they have a gray dial, the background will be gray, and then the number will be in black or white or whatever the rest of the numbers are in. If it's a black dial, blue dial, and orange dial, the background is always the same. So the date wheel will become less unobtrusive, it blends in with the dial, it doesn't have that problem where you look at the watch and the entire symmetry of it is broken up with this big ugly white thing that's in the watch, because while I understand the need for legibility, I also don't think that anybody, is using this watch solely for, they have a dive computer on their wrist. When you dive nowadays, you dive with a watch because you want to have the good feeling that it comes with to actually use it
You
for
want
its
the
intended
story
purpose.
of it, the history of it, everything like that, way more than the actual practice.
Yeah. So unless you're in a submarine.
Pause. Alright. Sorry guys, we're in a retail environment, so you might hear people, I might get interrupted, whatever it is, but now we can continue.
So I think where I was at is I was complaining about color match date wheels, in that nobody is diving for multiple days at a time. You never, even aside from the fact that you have a dive computer that gives you all this information plus more, you never need to know the date. So it becomes, and I'm sure they have some marketable spokesperson saying it's like, oh, this is why we do this, but I don't like it. Some people might. I think that it is so much easier to make it a much more cohesive look, something that matches as opposed to breaks up the dial. And date windows already kind of break up the symmetry, and that's why I like them at 6 o'clock. I like them when they're color matched, because then it just becomes a part of the zen of the watch, as opposed to this is cool, oh, there's this big thing right here.
Yeah. No, I get that completely. I mean,
and some people do it well and try to, and then some people like Rolex just say, it doesn't matter.
I remember the first time you pointed that out, and I was like, shit, now that's gonna drive me nuts.
Like glass shattering in your
head.
head.
Exactly. But you know, sometimes, like, if it's truly like a black dial, and then it's got a white date wheel with black numbers, that doesn't bother me a whole lot. It's when it's like, I think you showed me like a cream dial, and then it was like a stark white.
That was
like,
a Patek.
Yeah,
that was
kind of like annoying. I get
and that's a Patek dress watch too, which I think even less needs to have that broken up, because it was the triple calendar, so it had the month and the day up top in those two little boxes, and it just looks cheap. Like that's one of the, like, it makes that real Patek, and obviously not in the metal, but in pictures, it makes it kind of look like a fake Patek, just because it looks like something that a Chinese or any company that's replicating a watch would forget to do, or just not have the time to do.
Yeah.
Standard or whatever. So there's my gripe. Watch brands, color match your date wheels. What's yours?
I'm just not.
You gotta have something. You're in the watch industry.
The watch industry. A watch gripe. What really grinds my
Because it could be the industry too. It could be the service times, the after service support and sales and pricing and things like that.
Service times alone drive me nuts, but it's just
the after service support from some brands is I think significantly lacking, if I can say it in a professional way.
I think that's a great way to put it. And I feel like that's something that's going to have to change.
Yeah.
I mean, with all of the competition and, you know, competitors fighting for that real estate on your wrist, I think that the brands are absolutely going to have to respond and do things, because customers are paying a lot of money for that, and they expect premium service, and part of that is we're in this age of Amazon and all that, where we expect things quickly, and we expect customer service to be flawless, and so we could talk about that for a very, very long time. 100% agree.
We could have a whole episode.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah. I don't know. Like, truthfully, nothing comes to mind as like a little, I'd say, like, mechanical feature of a watch. but I'm sure something will come up, and then
We'll talk about it. Like we can have a gripe section every week.
Oh, we need to. Yeah. It's gonna be therapy for us. We're gonna need to get this.
We can talk to more than just you and I.
Exactly. Maybe one or two other people.
Jordan, our cameraman, he'll get to hear us.
Props. Cheers to Jordan. Thank you, making this all work. But this is also a great time to start this because Basel World is next week. I know that there's all kinds of different things, like what people want to see, what people are predicting they're seeing. I guess really open topic. Basel World. What are your thoughts?
So I get more. I don't know if I get more excited for Basel World or
Christmas.
Or well, no, those are definitely better than Christmas. But Basel World or SIHH or any of those are the two major ones. But which ones I like more, because I know that they at Basel will come out with more. I think a lot of the pieces end up being more in production. As opposed to just like novelties or limited editions or really showcasing the things like that. And I don't know that I have any hardline predictions or things that I'm pretty sure that they're going to come out with, but there are definitely things that I wish they would come out with. One of which I believe a lot of people have probably voiced their opinions on. I think a Pelagos GMT would look awesome.
Yep.
I think that watch with a contrasting colored like orange or blue or anything, whatever, contrasting colored GMT hand and a 24-hour bezel would look so cool.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
I had a Tudor green Pelagos.
Yeah. I
can't decide, is that too much like Rolex?
Yeah.
Would that be too similar, or I don't know, at the same time, I've seen photos online and it would look pretty awesome.
Because I was going to say, I saw somebody post the green Pelagos mock-up, and I'm not sure who it was, but it looked really cool.
Yeah. Just an idea.
Yeah. I would also like to see a Nomos chronograph. There's a guy on Instagram, it's at 1 Hour Watches. Every single day he will draw a watch or some type of a whole watch or like a part. It's really creative, and he does it in 1 hour, and he has an affinity for Nomos style designs. And he has done a couple mock-ups or a couple pictures of what he perceives could be a possible Nomos chronograph with that same simplistic minimal Bauhaus style, and I would be really interested to see how Nomos would interpret that complication, because I don't think it would be with 3 subdials and busying up everything.
Yeah, they would have to put their own spin on it.
Yeah.
So wait, real quick to circle back.
Yeah.
So this guy every day does
every day
like a design that doesn't exist, or he just does like some sort of graphic animation?
Normally it doesn't exist, and it's all drawn, hand drawn, and then sometimes he'll do something crazy, like he took a super huge profile view of a Omega Ploprof, and he drew like many people looking like they were like climbing up or like rock climbing or ascending the beveled edge on the lug.
I gotta check that out.
And then he'll do some really intensely technical designs with tourbillons, and you can sort of see the design influence like a Nomos or a Breguet or an IWC, but they're his own designs. And he does like really, really close-up hand sets and little like macros of details that he likes about watches, and it's really, really cool.
Well, unfortunately, neither of us will be there, but hopefully next year. And Alex, my brother's going to be there, so you're going to have to tell us all about it.
Yeah.
But no, I think that would definitely be something really cool. I mean, like you said, Nomos just puts a unique spin on everything. So to do a chronograph and to see what they would, like their interpretation of it.
I think it'd be neat because they already, at least this or a lot of their designs have a sub-seconds as opposed to a central seconds.
Yeah.
And you could still have that as the running seconds, but sort of how Breguet does it on their marine chronographs, like the platinum one we had.
Yeah.
Instead of having a separate subdial for the minute track, you can have, when you initiate the chronograph seconds hand will start, but then there will be another hand underneath it, and that will operate as the minutes. So
Yeah.
the minutes go around the chapter ring around the outside of the dial, as opposed to having a subdial.
That would be cool.
And you could have just the two hands and
Yeah.
do just an hour chronograph, and like some of them do with the dual subdials. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. All right. Well,
We're getting the hook.
Yeah.
We're currently out of time.
well, thank you guys to anyone that is watching. We will be back not next week, but the following week. But please check out next week. Lisa and Amanda are going to be talking about some cool things in the world of handbags. So I know that we're going to learn a lot. So.
Yeah, and we will put an Instagram or some type of link below
Yes.
this video, so that if you have any questions, right here, if you have any questions at all, topics you want us to discuss, industry questions you want us to ask, examples you'd like us to show us, let us know, and we're happy to start doing question and answer sections too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys.